All right, guys, how is everyone doing? The red light is on. We are absolutely live here on Fight Bananas with Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA fighter. That's going to be fun to keep on saying for at least for the next 28 days or next month. Charles Rosa, 18-8, the stud from Florida. Charles, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm great. Just got back from the gym, steady grinding through training camp, getting ready for November 15th. Can't wait.
Let's go, man. There's so much I want to talk to you about. I know you've been going back and forth on the messages trying to make this happen, but I talked to you before, of course, back in the day, but there's some more history, I think, off air that you probably don't know. So I can't wait to bring this up to be. The first place I'm going to start with this is our guy, Dean Toole. Dean Toole is an absolute, stud to us here at Fight Bananas. And of course is a pivotal in Gamebred. Oh, BareKnuckle MMA. Okay, you're good. You see me, Charles?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yes.
Dean Toole talked to me about Charles Rosa 7 years ago, 6 years ago. You were a mainstay in the UFC doing your thing. And he used to tell me about your Florida amateur days. And Dean Toole is a
Yeah.
big time Florida guy. I am as well. And he's like, dude, Charles Rosa was like a legend in Florida doing the amateur scene. One of the best to ever do it. So when you hear this, maybe you never heard of it. Maybe you have heard that buzz from Dean Toole or something else. But when I hear say that to you now in 2024 fall, what does that do to you?
No, man, I love that. Dean Toole has always been awesome to me, always given me good opportunities, linked me with some good people, and he's
Yeah.
connected with some of the best people in networking I've ever met. I wasn't sure how much he followed my amateur career, but I think, I was, a lot of people know and they respect the career I had. I had over 20 amateur wins
Yeah.
throughout my amateur career. I stayed amateur way long. Everybody was trying to get me to go pro. They were begging me, come on, fight in this show, fight in this show. But I stuck with what I wanted to do. I wanted to be experienced enough so when I got to the UFC that I was good enough to fight there, and I did. I went to 9-0 from my first pro fight to my ninth pro fight. I went 9-0 with all first round finishes in
Yeah.
18 months. You know what I'm saying? So it happened quick, and I wanted to be ready. I was the number one amateur fighter in the country, and I was taking on all comers, all weight classes. I was down for it all. So I was like the king of the amateur scene back in in the United States. So it was
Yeah.
awesome.
What a legend, man. Charles Rosa, man. Talking about a legendary, how about a 2024 for you? 2 wins, 2 first round finishes. You have a big fight. We talked about it November 15th. I'm going to push a fancy button to get this on the screen right now for you. Biloxi, Mississippi, 2024. Rosa, it could be a major 2024 for you. How you feeling? You got to be in a great, at least headspace of your 2 wins, 2 first round finishes. Like I said, seems like everything is really coming together for you right now.
Yeah, in the last 9 months, I've been 4-0. 4-0 with all 4 first round finishes, 2 submissions, 2 knockouts. So I'm steady cruising. I'm fighting more often
Yeah.
like I did back when I was an amateur. That's kind of the cool thing about the post UFC is in the UFC there's so much pressure. You don't know when they're going to call you. It seems
Yeah.
like there's so much pressure. But when I fought as an amateur, I didn't give a fuck. I went everywhere. I fought anybody,
Yeah.
anytime. I didn't have a game plan. I wasn't stylistically matching up against this guy, looking at video. I just go fight. And that's when I always did my best. And my last 4 fights have been the same thing. My coach said, "Oh, let's watch this film and see his assault." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I don't. I'm over that." It always got me in trouble watching film, seeing what these guys are good at. I make a
Yeah.
game plan and the guy does something completely else. So man, I'm the best I've ever been, the sharpest, the strongest, and the fastest, and I'm ready to fight November 15th.
I love it. I love it. I maybe this is the worst generic question then, Charles. Like I would assume you just said you feel free, you feel good. I would assume that's kind of the game plan going into November 15th. Hey, we know Barnett, a veteran of the sport as well, coming from the Northeast. You got to respect that. A savvy veteran, kind of like yourself. To me, it's actually kind of got the sleeper people's main event written all over it. November 15th is a packed night. A lot of studs on that card. You guys can definitely steal the show. But I assume you're going to go in kind of November 15th pretty free. Like, is that kind of the game plan?
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm going in for the kill like I always do. You've watched all my fights. I've,
Yeah.
4 fighting the nights in the UFC, a couple of performance bonuses at the highest level. But one thing you can watch from my first amateur fight to my last fight where I knocked the guy out in the first round is I always come to fight. I always come. You never have ever seen me go and fight and someone said, "Oh, that wasn't an awesome fight." Whether I win, lose, or draw, I'm always coming to scrap and I'm coming to kill. And, I've never been finished my whole career. I've always been, in the fight against the top guys in the world. Most of my losses, any of them, are the top, 10 guys on the planet Earth, and all fights that I finished the fight on top. So, I wish every fight was to the death and to the thing, because I feel like I would win every fight. But there is rounds, and there is judges, and there is scoring systems, and there's different venues and countries and places, and you gotta adjust to it, and that's not the reality of it. But that's the way I fight. I fight.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting for 3 rounds to get the points. I'm fighting to kill the guy, and if I don't kill the guy after 15 minutes, sometimes I lose, and that's been the story of my career.
I feel that. I respect that a ton, Charles. Talking about kind of putting it all out there and something fighting to the death a little bit. I love some of your social media posts. I saw you posted it. Then I saw Gamebred BareKnuckle posted it. Even Dean Toole was posting it. Kind of that lineage of the Kimbo Slice. And of course, now, the guy who's going to be signing the checks that night, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. How cool is it to, like, I don't want to say full circle because we're not even close to maybe being done, but like, to me, it's got to be pretty amazing feeling of like, man, you started with them and what they've done. They've kind of brought that, griminess, that grit, that kill or be killed to a major platform where the checks are pretty nice as well. It's got to be a great feeling, Charles.
Nah, it's really special, and it's a big part of the reason why I took this fight with Dean Toole and for George Masvidal. It does come full circle. Not everybody knows the story, but one of the first people I ever met, one of my first months in the gym was Kimbo Slice, and Icy Mike at the time was his manager, and they gave me my first pair of boxing gloves. I went into that gym. I only had a bicycle at the time, no car. Struggling to make ends meet, and they saw me. Kimbo and his manager Icy Mike, they saw me without gloves in the gym. I was going in there borrowing the gloves that are sneaky and thing all soaking wet every day to use them because I couldn't afford a pair. And Kimbo Slice gave me my first pair of boxing gloves, and that's something that motivated me more than anything, because still to this day he's my favorite fighter and bare knuckle fighter. He's the legend. He's the GOAT of bare knuckle. And George Masvidal, we saw him fight on those shows, and man, I'm dedicating this fight to Kimbo Slice, man. He was the one who motivated me into MMA and made me believe that I could help me do what I do and have the career I've had, and gave me the kind of the motivation in the beginning, because sometimes it takes something like that. You see someone that you look up to that kind of gives you that extra push of motivation and inspiration, and Kimbo Slice gave that to me. And after he gave me that pair of gloves, man, I wore those things out till I couldn't use them no more.
That's amazing, man. What a great story. What a great story, guys. November 15th, Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA, Charles Rosa, Slippery Pete Barnett. What an exciting fight that's going to be. Rewinding back a little bit for me of the back in the day, like I said, the bare knuckle thing was kind of on the streets and on YouTube, and became, Kimbo Slice and of course, Jorge Masvidal became these legends and these superstars. But then, of course, the gloves went on, Kimbo's career, the Ultimate Fighter, Bellator, that kind of stuff. And then Jorge, one of the great UFC careers of all time, headlining Madison Square Garden, BMF title, The Rock. I don't got to say all that, Did you ever foresee, even back then, or then this whole career of mixed martial arts, did you ever foresee bare knuckle, for one, being as popular as it is in 2024? And then maybe the most important question, did you ever foresee you becoming a bare knuckle fighter, someday in your career?
I mean, for me, I love combat sports. So, I mean, I did jiu-jitsu tournaments, did kickboxing tournaments. I went over to Thailand, fought in Thailand. I fought street fights growing up as a kid for money. I did it all. I love combat sports. I got, when I play hockey, I get more hockey fights than I scored goals.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I love to do. I love combat. I love competition, and I love fighting. So if you tell me, oh, you got to take the gloves off. I mean, when I fought in the UFC, all those fights and all my pro fights, like, we're fighting without elbow pads on, we're fighting without knee pads. An elbow or a knee is much more dangerous without padding than it is a punch. Now, of course, now that you take the gloves off, it's more dangerous. But man, I mean, this is what it is. Also more dangerous for the guy I'm fighting too. So you better be ready, November 15th.
I love it. I love it. One thing, again, I don't want to talk too much off air stuff, but I talked to Dean Toole about it, and he's proud of having as many great fighters on this card that will be on November 15th, and so many other media outlets and organizations saying, hey, there's 11 UFC vets, and that's kind of been this little thing about it. But Dean, just to kind of be honest, he's over it, right? Like, he doesn't want to use the UFC as a prop for this event. He wants Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA fighters. There's so many great ones that's already fought for the company that will go forward. There's a heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos, a legend in the sport. There's going to be another championship fight with Randy Costa and Brandon Michael Davis in the main event for the Bantamweight Championship. Not to go too much fast forward because it is always one fight at a time, but can you foresee your next 3 years, 5 years of your career, maybe these last 7, 10 great fights with Charles Rosa, can they all be under the Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA banner? And you instead of being a UFC vet, Charles Rosa is a Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA fighter.
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal. I mean, the sky is the limit. Gene Toole is one of the best matchmakers of all time. But my goal in any promotion I fight for, from like I said, my first amateur fight to when
Yeah.
I do jiu-jitsu tournaments, I do take kickboxing matches or tournaments, is to be the champion, is to be the world champion, is to be the best at whatever I'm doing, whether it's kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA, bare knuckle MMA. I'm here to be the champion, and I'm here to fight as hard as I can and to win the belt. I asked Dino, I was like, yo, let's make this for a belt. We get the number 2 guy, which is me, and number 2 guy Pete. We're fighting each other, and let's make it for a title. And he's like, oh, we already kind of made the card, we did it. And I tried to talk him into it, but everybody knows from New England, from Boston, from that area up there, that what's really on the line is the BMF belt, and it's the baddest motherfucker from Boston belt. Everybody knows that. We're the 2 top guys in Boston right now. We both fought in the UFC. I mean, I've beaten all the best of the best from New England. I beat Kyle Bochniak, absolute legend, of tough kid. I fought Manny Bermudez at the time, was like number 13 in the world in the UFC. I beat him. Sean Soriano up from Providence, Rhode Island. Man, that kid is an absolute legend. He's still coaching over at Killcliff under Henry Hooft. These are the best of the best, the biggest names. I just took out the number 1 guy from Maine, Josh Harvey. First round submission. So I'm beating the best of the best guys, and Pete is one of the few remaining from Boston that I'm gonna have to take out on November 15th.
I can't wait for this fight, Charles. I can't wait for this fight. Like I said, man, I'll be up there in Biloxi. I've been at all the Gamebred BareKnuckle MMA events. I'm so lucky to work for them and do some content for them. So I cannot wait for this fight, my man. I'm pretty sure I do remember seeing you that night. Were you there when they were there in South Florida? Maybe it was like a year and a half ago.
Well, say that again.
Were you there in South Florida when Gamebred BareKnuckle was there live?
Yeah, I don't think I was able to go to the fight. I think my roommate is Daniel Soncora Marcos. He's a Peruvian fighter. So he's 16-0 right now, 4-0 in the UFC, absolutely crushing it. I'm coaching him, helping him, training with him. And I think I was cornering him in his fight, so I wasn't able to go to that event. I was, obviously I wanted to go. It was like the sickest time. Super excited about it, but unfortunately I had to, I got to go corner my teammate and go get a big win over in I believe it was England. He went and fought, and he fought in England and beat David Grant, which was a great fight. Right. So that was about that timing. But I love it, and I love watching it. I'm a fan of it too. Like, I'm a fan of fighting. That's what got me.
I was gonna say, have you seen them all? Like, have you been watching all these Gamebred BareKnuckle events?
I watch it all, man. I love it. And, Randy Costa was a training partner of mine for years over at American Combat Gym with Charles McCarthy and, coaching with him. So he's a great kid. And even my last fight when I knocked out Patrick Benson, first round knockout, he was up in my fight up at Foxwoods. And the first person I saw after I slept Benson, I look over just to, to make eye contact with somebody after I knocked him out was Randy Costa. And he was going nuts, bro. He's, big smile on his face. So, we're always rooting for our guys from back home, but I'm excited to see him fight too. Luckily I'll be able to enjoy the show after I take care of Pete Barrett.
I was gonna say that real quick. Is that the fight other than yourself? There's plenty. Of course, Kevin Lee is making a comeback. I'm telling you, heavyweights, Charles BareKnuckle. I know you've seen Kimbo Slice, so you've seen it all probably more than me, right? But there's nothing like a heavyweight Gamebred BareKnuckle fights and insane. There's 2 or 3 phenomenal ones on this card. Is the Randy Costa, Brandon Michael Davis fight for the championship the fight you have to see, or is there another one that you're keeping your eye on?
Yeah, no doubt, man. I love watching Randy. He can scrap, bro. He has some of the best hands I think in the world. For all. I mean, if they say, oh, boxers, not just for MMA fighters, that kid has some serious hands, dude. Like I knew when he fought Jason Knight that he was gonna. If Jason Knight can't get him down in the first couple of minutes, he's gonna definitely get pieced up, and that's exactly what happened. I even think I put a little bit of money on it and cashed out on Randy Costa because he was such a big underdog in that fight. I was like, there's no way these odds are wrong, dude. Like I know because of experience, and man, he did his thing. So I love watching Randy fight. He's awesome, but that's the fight. Obviously, it's for a world title, so it's a big fight. Is it 5 rounds? Is it 5 rounds that fight?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, dude, that's those dudes got those guys both got some screws loose. I don't know Brandon Davis as much, but for them to go 5 rounds in this, someone's getting put away. So I'm excited to see that.
Exactly. We always say that, like, when I think it was Francis Ngannou, I think it was Derek Lewis with the fight. It's like, oh, this fight's going to end in 1 minute and went all 5 rounds, like stuff of that nature. There's just no way this fight's going, all 5. They're both too aggressive. They're both got too many good skills, too techniques. Brandon Michael Davis, I've seen multiple of his fights in his career, a lot of stuff in Mississippi as well. Dude, he's so good. These guys are so freaking good. I cannot wait. That's the main event, guys. November 15th for the Gamebred BareKnuckle Bantamweight Championship of the World. We got Charles Rosa. I would assume everything handles business. Your next fight will be for that lightweight championship, the Gamebred BareKnuckle World Championship. But my man, last thing for you. I want you to quote, if you want anything you want to push or promote, do that. Then I got 5 fun questions, and we'll let you roll, Charles. But is there anything you got to push or promote for you?
No, definitely, guys. I just want to say, tune in November 15th. We're fighting bare knuckle in Mississippi. I'm going to barbecue that son of a bitch. Pete Barrett's going down in round 1. So everybody tune in, get your tickets, get your boots ready. We're fighting in Mississippi. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. 5 fun questions. First thing that comes to your head. All right, my man?
Let's do it.
All right. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
Shit. I didn't listen to nobody, so.
Don't listen to nobody.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite superhero?
Wolverine.
Wolverine. What song do you know every single word of?
8 Mile, Lose Yourself.
Yeah, classic. What's your biggest pet peeve?
When they mess up your food at a restaurant.
Okay, I like that. Last one for you, my man. Dead or alive, 2 people to have dinner with. Who are those 2 people?
I would say, well, it's crazy because I had it already with with like Kimbo at the time, but
Yeah.
Kimbo Slice, to do that again with him would be absolutely, like, be able to, obviously he passed away. It was tough, but I went to dinner with him a few times, but he's, if I could do it with him one more time, I'd do anything for that. And then somebody alive will be Eminem.
I love that. I love that. Great questions, great answers. Charles Rosa, guys, November 15th. Do not miss it. Charles Rosa in the people's main event. Slippery Pete Barnett. Charles, man, appreciate you. Appreciate your time. I'll see you out there in Biloxi in a month. All right, my man?
Awesome. Can't wait to see you. Let's go.
All right, brother. Later. Thanks, Charles.